Hello, my fellow readers. This is iDarkSymphony777 with another fanfiction review. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts to the story, and finally, it's not my opinion. My opinion is not indicative of everyone in the world, so please respect that. I do apologize. I actually came out with like a minor cold, so I may sound off. But I'm probably gonna push through it, not only for this, but like the other videos I'm gonna be recording after this. So the fanfiction I am reviewing is the Kim Possible Jinxed 5-part series by Robert Teague. It is actually, despite the fact it's called a Kim Possible fanfiction, it's underneath the Kim Possible main section, so it's not a crossover. It's technically a crossover from Teen Titans, specifically the 2003 Teen Titans. So, what are these stories about? Well, in order to make sense, you need to know who Jinx is. So, this is Jinx. She's from I don't remember if she debuted in the 2003 show. I know there's some like villains and heroes that actually debuted in like these cartoons, like Harley Quinn, obviously the most famous one. But I think Jinx actually debuted in the 2003 Teen Titans. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a big comic aficionado, so I know for a fact I can be wrong in this. So, Jinx's whole shtick is that in the Teen Titans 2003, her whole thing was that she used powers of probability. So basically, she would fire like a little bolt at someone, and it would increase the probability of someone suffering bad luck. Hence the name Jinx. However, as the show went on, Jinx really started to regret a lot of stuff because she wanted to do good, but she didn't really know how to do it. So she met Kid Flash. Kid Flash offered her a choice, like you can become a good guy, and she decided to take it. So she actually was in jail, and ultimately was planning on staying in jail the entire time, and then just becoming a superhero or something like that. Try and go on the straight and narrow, which leads to this story, which is like an alternate interpretation of what happens afterwards. Kim and Shigo, the story just completely fucks with them just kicking each other's asses. And then, out of nowhere, a wormhole opens up. Kim and Shigo are just completely... They're Kim and Shigo. They're just gonna beat the shit out of each other and not even realize what's going on around them. Ron actually has to point it out to them. It's like, time out! What? Behind you. So, thanks to Ron, they finally noticed the hole that opened up. Out comes Jinx. And of course, Shigo just kind of kicks Kim. Is like, once he realizes, it's a person, and just kicks Kim in the side. It's like, see you later. Kim was like, we'll deal with her later. Let's just deal with this random person that just showed up out of nowhere. They find out her name is Jenny Wheeler, otherwise known as Jinx. Jinx is her hero name. Jenny Wheeler is her real name. Jenny introduces herself by literally saying, "Are you police? Are you officers?" It's like, well, technically we are. And she goes up like, "All right, arrest me. I'm not. She's like, "No, arrest me." And we even get like a little funny moment where like Ron is like trying to figure out how to put the handcuffs on her. It's like, she like puts the handcuffs. It's like, do those work? And she just simply lowers them and they falls off. It's like, tighten them. Ron tightens it. They immediately just, all right, what the fuck are we gonna do with this chick? They realize, she's from nowhere. She just came out of nowhere. She doesn't exist. Even like, Betty Director is like, she doesn't exist. But there's a girl named Jenny Wheeler who kind of died 5 years ago, and it's like, it matches up. So we'll kind of work something out. Let you kind of have a clean slate. You know, you want to do good. Like, all right, here you go. Here's your shot. And the plot of all 5 stories kind of kicks off from there, with Jinx simply trying to become like a normal everyday person, but also a superhero on the side. She ends up joining Kim Possible and like Team Possible, the whole thing, and joining like what are the Global Justice. I completely forgot about what the name of that organization is called. They work for Global Justice, and they have to deal with the various villains. Like in the first story, they have to deal with Draken and Chigo. You know, like a little moment where like where Shigo like kind of wants revenge on Jinx, which comes along in the third story, and all that. But they eventually do beat Draken and Shigo, and then when it comes to the second story, Jinx is allowed to go to school. They have to deal with Birkin, who's like, who completely like flips the switch, like, ma'am, yes, I don't like your you're out of uniform. And Jinx was like looking at herself like, I am. It's like, no dye, your skin's gray, and no context. Like, did you read the file? No, maybe no. Read the file. All right. At the end of the day, it's like, I apologize. I read the file. It turns out it's all natural. Sorry, ma'am. And it's like a thing. And then there's like a whole thing with Monkey Fist. Like everyone's like deliberately trying to avoid Jinx. It's like everyone's like, I ain't touching that. I'm not touching it. Maybe I might touch that with D and Amy. It's like, but yeah, not right now. And we got a whole thing with like Monkey Fist wanting to like find some kind of counter, maybe to get like Jinx underneath, like will work for him. And so Monkey Fist actually just goes to like the temple where like the very first episode he was introduced in the show was. He finds a charm that's basically meant to manipulate luck around him. Basically like good, it's more or less supposed to support good luck, but he kind of tinkered with it and kind of figured out like I could just randomly mess with bad luck as well, which is what she does. And then that causes Jinx powers to kind of just randomly leak and kind of split off and just kind of start doing its own thing. And everyone starts blaming Jinx for it. Around this time, she starts becoming good friends with Terra, the hanger on to Bonnie Rockwell. Let me actually get a picture of her. This chick. This is Terra. So she kind of becomes Jinx's best friend. Because she starts getting fractured with Bonnie Walkweiler. If you actually watch Kim Possible, Bonnie is basically like the bully of the school to like Kim Possible. But it's like the fact that Kim's like she's somewhat upset over the fact that it's actually one of the more realistic bullies, because her reason for hating Kim is the fact that she doesn't really commit all her time to cheerleading, because like to Bonnie, cheerleading is like her entire thing besides popularity. Meanwhile, Kim is like constantly going out on these missions, so she's not always 100% there for like cheerleading and stuff like that. So that's why Bonnie like kind of at loggerheads with Kim, because like, you're never here for cheerleading. I should become the cheerleader because there's lots of time when you're not here because you're doing other stuff, like, I don't know, saving the world. And like Tarek is kind of like the yes woman, because they're like friends. But in this story, because of everything that's happening, Bonnie starts getting like ultra angsty and stuff, like an extra ultra rude, that kind of causes them to kind of stop being friends. Although they kind of get back together at the end, but then they stop being friends like in like before the third story. It's really weird. I'm gonna talk about it in a little bit. But eventually they find out that that Monkey Fist is like messing with everything, and like, oh yeah, it's like, they shunned you. Yes, they shunned me. Yes, you want to work for me? I don't want to take over the world. Well, I mean, you can just hurt people. Like, all right. The school, they jump into the gymnasium. It's like, aha, get you back. It's like, wait, Jinx, it was Monkey Fist. Good, I got the proof. I just kicked Monkey Fist's ass. And use their powers to, they give bad luck to Monkey Fist to transfer his power to Ron and stuff like that. Then we get the third story, which is kind of where the story kind of falls apart. This is where the whole thing plot wise just loses the ball. First off, like I said, Tara and Bonnie, they just randomly stop being friends. There's for no reason, like Bonnie just disappears after the story for no fucking reason. Third off, Starfire shows up. Like Starfire just says, "Oh, we're trying to get Jinx back because we thought that she kind of escaped." And then when Jinx explained, like, "No, this guy fucking screwed me over and brought me back and forced me here," and then Starfire's like, "Okay, I can understand that if we find the proof and stuff like that." But because it's Starfire, she's like a cinnamon roll in the Teen Titans. Much better than Robin. I still remember that lot of the pain that Robin did. That's like the most crazy Robin in like any media. Besides the fuck Batman one. Fuck Batman. Anyway, Starfire literally just wants to bring Jinx home because Jinx didn't really serve her time, because at the time she was only serving 10 years. She technically already served 2 years before the whole thing with Gizmo kind of forcing her into like impossible world happened. And so Starfire just wants to bring her back just to serve the other 8 years. They even said, like, after the 8 years, we can try and just bring you back here, and you can just continue where you left off. Like, that's fine. However, Jinx doesn't want to go, and that causes like loggerheads, because she knows that Starfire was ordered to not take no for an answer. Again, they should be lucky it was not Robin, or even worse, if it was like Raven. Raven would probably just kill everyone. It's like, no, and then just take her anyway. Jinx agrees to fight Starfire, knowing she will get her ass whooped, because if you don't know who Starfire is, Starfire, yes, I'm deliberately using a goofy picture of her, deal with it, has super strength, can fly, can fire lasers from her eyes, can fire sun-infused bolts from her hands, and has super durability. Jinx has no shot. Granted, if Jinx had like Robin next to her, yeah, maybe. I'm gonna spend like half of this review just constantly mentioning, yeah, Robin's a badass in this version, because you watch a 2003 Teen Titans. You watch any episode centered around Robin. You're gonna see him just kick everyone's ass. I win. That's not Robin's motto. So, I just realized I went to the wrong tab. So, Jinx eventually challenges Starfire. Right before they fight, Shigo shows up because she broke out of jail specifically to get revenge on Jinx. Shigo's like, I want my lump. I want my lumps first. Starfire acquiesces this and lets Jinx and Shigo kind of duke it out. They both agree, no powers from either of them, just pure martial art. Shigo actually wins the fight, and then Shigo tries to go for the kill. Starfire just basically holds her hand. It's like, no, you want fair and square. When Shigo tries to fight back against Starfire, we kind of see like how exactly out of depth Jinx was when after like a brief skirmish of like them firing their powers at each other, Starfire just casually one-shots Shigo, just punches her right between the eyes and just knocks her out and gives her a concussion. Nice. And when everything's said and done, Jinx eventually decides to go home because she realizes that Starfire is kind of in the right, because she still has that specter of the jail sentence over her head. So she's like, I want to just go back just so I can have my conscience clear of that. Nothing against you guys. It's just, it doesn't feel right that I still have this over my head, and I just want it off my conscience. And even Starfire agreed that we'll try and get like your time served and all that stuff. And we even got like a quick little cameo of like Robin watching everyone. It's only like for a couple sentences. Let me see if I can actually. It's like should be here. Should be. Yeah, right here. Yeah, another person. Yeah, right here's Raven right here at the end of this chapter, and then eventually they find out they're doing like a little Renaissance thing in South America. When they find out Jinx came back, they found out that they termed you did time served, and when you were doing like all this good stuff for this other world, you have all this proof. We'll let you go back. Yeah, we'll wait the other 8 years. Have fun. However, when it comes to the fourth story, we get a total shift where Tara has a legitimate mental breakdown. She starts suffering from severe depression over the fact that Jinx was really the only person she had left as a friend. So the story is basically just her, Jinx, trying to get Tara out of like her depressive mood because she's so convinced because of the whole thing. And that's kind of where like the whole story just legitimately just collapsed in itself, because you do the whole thing where you heavily imply that Tara's in love with Jinx, like in the romantic way, in the lesbian way. And then you, at the end of the story, is like, where is it? Because it should be at the bottom here. Yeah. I wanted Jen and Tara to be close, but let them slip over the line. While writing. That particular subplot was interfering. So you had to go, nah, I'm not doing lesbian. Despite the fact you heavily implied it throughout this entire story. Like, Tara had a shrine, she couldn't eat, she refused to clean herself, she refused all this stuff. And then you just said, no. Because I gotta have Jenny Wheeler hook up with the cripple in fucking Felix. For no reason besides, I don't know. I don't know why, because the author had Jinx hook up with Felix in the second story, but then they broke up for unknown reasons. And then you heavily imply that Tara's in love with Jinx, and then you just rant like, you don't do a shrine unless you do the fucking lesbian shit. Like, this is like Helga Pataki levels of like creepiness. Like, look at this. This is Helga level of creepy like obsessive love shit. This is why. And that's pretty much all of Tears of Jinx. It's literally just Jinx trying to get Tara out of their depressed mood, but nothing really happens. And and also they go to Yamanouchi for like a year, and she brings Tara with her to kind of help her with it. And then we have the final story, Jinx of the World, where while they're training, Draken, Shigo, and Monkey Fist, they basically all like unite, say, no, we need to take down Jinx, because Jinx is like our way to destroy the world. I like that Draken plans like this special lens that hooks up to a satellite that then his plan is like to use the mind control chip on Jinx to kind of control her and like direct the bad luck to kind of like destroy the world and all that stuff. And then we get like a weird shit where like Tara gets like monkey powers, protective monkey powers, and she wants to work for team, and she wants to be part of Team Possible, but she wants to be like a more support thing, and it focuses a lot on Tara, like almost unnecessarily. And even like the finale where like they're dealing with like Draken and Shigo and Monkey Fist. I mean, honestly, the whole plan of like how to get like trapped Kim Possible is actually kind of creative, because they actually like do the whole Draken's gone like legitimately off the deep end. And like they even have like Shigo be the one to do the hit, and she like her clothes are burned, and then like before the end, like before the video ends, like Draken just comes in the room and he has like a fucking handgun. And it's like, oh, and everyone's calling. I think, you do realize there's a trap? It's like, I'm not taking any chances. And the trap, damn it! I shouldn't have took the chance. And it's kind of like hilarious, like And the story kind of ends with Jinx using like her like willing to like become a bomb, like an actual living bad luck bomb, and storing up all her power to kind of take out Shigo and Draken and Monkey Fist, because it's like, because as long as she had the control of the chip on her, she couldn't really do anything. She was like, I'm just gonna take out the bomb so that way, so I can at least have the safety of that everyone's kind of safe. And then once they take the bomb off, it's like, okay, I'm firing up. And she uses her powers to kind of also throw some hex in the sky to blow up the satellite, and also kind of throw some hexes at the three. And now for like a year, whenever they do any sort of evil, they kind of will always automatically lose before they even start. So it's like, shit, we can't do any evil for a year. I can't do kung fu for a year. And she goes like, I can't punch people for a year. I mean, you could probably punch people for a year. That can't really be classified as evil. Well, I don't know. And the story kind of just ends with Jinx and Felix kind of hooking up just randomly, because like that's just out of nowhere. And I'm sorry, it's so messy. Like the first two story plots, they're fine. They're fine for what they are, as short little adventures. These three stories just are honestly complete shit, because for the most part they're just way too short to tell the story that you want to tell. I don't have a problem with the core idea. Aside from the fact that it was like a massive missed opportunity for having them interact with the other members of Teen Titans. Like how cool would it have been if like Wade met with Cyborg? That was a missed opportunity. Or even like Raven showing up, or hell, Beast Boy showing up. Like you can just like, oh, you're an alien. There is life on other planets. Well, there's life in other worlds. It's potato. Or even like Raven, and she's like just kind of and you're gonna have like a little joke where like Raven's like just doing nothing but glaring at Kim. It's like, hi, how are you? Why are you staring at me? Why are you glaring at me? Wait, what are you doing? Did you slap me? Yes. Now stop talking. I'm trying to meditate. And you're just like, there's so much you could have done with that, but instead you wanted to focus exclusively on Jinx, just becoming a normal person. But at the same time, you want her to become a hero, and there's not really a sense of threatening, because when you're doing something like this, you have to always escalate the threat, and it doesn't really do that. Like, okay, dealing like inept Draken, who's like the comedy guy, but then you have a super serious villain with Monkey Fist, and then you have Starfire. Okay, that's kind of escalating, and then he just goes to randomly to depression, and then it kind of goes to all three of them, and you can't take them seriously because one, the story is so short, and two, you know for a fact that they're just gonna focus too much on just trying to get the Jinx, that it's gonna backfire on them, which it does. So I don't like the entire half of it. I think the first half being like a more slice of life, like a little adventure to the side thing, I think that worked better. But that's just me. Character, I think Jenny Wheeler is fine. She's very basic. She's basically just acting like a normal teenager. It's like she's emotional. She cries a lot. She's always burdened by like the shadow of everything she did in the past, burdening her. She doesn't want to be burdened to anyone. She wants to prove herself to others. She basically acts like a normal teenager. Okay, that's fine. The rest of the characters, especially with Tara. Tara's like the biggest missed opportunity of all the characters. Because if you're doing this whole thing, well, first, if you're planning on doing this whole thing with not doing the lesbian thing, why would you just spend an entire story just heavily implying it? I don't know why you did that, but you did, and you didn't do the lesbian thing specifically because you just didn't want to. Okay. The villains aren't really that like Draken, Shigo, and Monkey Fist aren't really that interesting. They're just very, very basic. I've read tons of Kim Possible fan fictions. They have done. There are better Drakens out there. There are better Shigos out there. I've read a lot of Monkey Fist, but I know for a fact a few I've read. Guess what? Are better. I mean, the Starfire is not bad. She kind of acts like Starfire, even having her drink mustard. Because mustard? Oh. Grammar wise, I think the grammar wise is good. Pacing, I do think. Again, there's another thing with the last three stories is the pacing kind of fast paced for what you're trying to tell. They should have been the first two stories pacing wise they're fine, but these three they should have been slower and longer to kind of get the story you want to tell more often. Like they didn't need to be super long, maybe like 25 to 30,000 words each. I think that probably would have been enough. Other than that, I don't really have anything to say. Would I recommend these stories? Not really. Like there's a Kim Possible Monster High fan fiction, the one with Draculaura. The first half, that one's much better than like all the stories. Like maybe if the stories kind of branched out and were more flowed better, or you had the Teen Titans kind of get involved more often, maybe you incorporate more of the elements of that show into the crossover. You could have something. There's just a lot of missed potential you could have done with this whole thing. I don't hate it, but I don't think it's good enough to recommend, because I do think these stories are very, very bare bones for the most part, and doesn't really tell a story that really works in the context of the whole thing of what you want to accomplish with the story. Favorite part, honestly, just Starfire just knocking out Shigo, just one shot her. I think that's fine. What would I change? These two stories keep as is. These stories just make them longer. Give slightly more character depth to Jinx and Solid. Maybe have more stories where you have like the other characters mentioned, even like showing up as a cameo. Like we only got Starfire and Raven. Like how cool, like even like a quick cameo. Like we just read, like they meet Robin. Like anything for that would have been better. But I think just slowing down the pacing of these three stories and making them a bit longer to kind of give you all you need to know for those stories, to give them more fleshing out. I think that's really it. So that is Kim Possible Jinxed. I don't really have anything more to say about the story because these stories are so short. Even if there's 5 stories, they're very, very bare bones of what they're trying to tell. I think it's okay, but it's very, very lackluster in what it's trying to tell. This has been Dark Symphony 777, and cut.